This is the Leave No Doubt podcast, where we're helping dads become the example they want to leave behind for their kids. Today, talking about mental shifts that new dads need to make. And I'm a relatively recent father as of 6 years ago. You're deeper into it. But something that we've had recent experience with is transitioning from our lives before parenting, which were very different than they are now. This is something that we've both observed a ton in friends going through the same transition, people that we're, maybe not as close with, but observing. And in my opinion, this is one of the kind of biggest honors in your life to become a dad, and the responsibility that comes with that, and just all the beauty of fatherhood that comes with it. And unfortunately, it seems like there's a tendency to want to recreate as quickly as possible your life before having kids, and never actually making the mental transition into fatherhood, and scratching and clawing and doing everything you can to not transition into fatherhood, actually. And so what we wanted to talk about was for dads that are about to become dads, recent dads, and maybe even if you're 10, 15 years into it and you're still, talking about the glory days, this might be for you. The concept being, what are the mental shifts you need to make to go from yourself, your life before kids, to growing into your role as a father?
Yeah, love it. Love the topic, and there's a lot here for sure. So where do you want to begin? Because I really liked your framework you talked about before. Just kind of, there's three areas that you really kind of honed in on. So let's start with number one.
Yeah, so I kind of thought of them like past, present, and future almost. The first one is stop romanticizing your life before kids. The chances are it wasn't that great anyways. And the things that you're probably missing and wanting to get back to, think about where those things lead you to. It's probably a good time to talk about what our lives were before kids and kind of all the different things we were doing. We've both pursued paths of self-centeredness and pleasure or whatever that we've lived out as dead-end roads. Like, those take you nowhere. And what I have experienced or observed is dads are kind of thinking, I can't wait to get through this newborn thing so I can get back on my freaking phone and check my fantasy football score.
Yep.
Or I can't wait to, go do whatever, it's never something productive or fulfilling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's usually something self-centered. So that's the first thing that comes to mind for me is there's, I think, this tendency, and it plays out a bunch of different ways, where it's how quickly can I get back to my life? How quickly can I get back to doing me?
Yeah.
Once I've had kids, instead of saying, oh, maybe this is actually a new and different era of my life that I need to change and grow into.
Yep.
Instead of trying to look backwards and go backwards.
Yeah, right. It's your evolution. It's how it's supposed to be. This is the next step, right? It's like, even when we look at our kids, like when you look at a kid, they're self-centered, right? It's just all about them, and it's all about them. And then, as parents, we try and help them, kind of guide them into, evolving out of that, right? In a lot of ways. It's no different as us as adults, right? It's like, before kids, it's like it's all about me, right? And then you meet someone else, and then hopefully you're learning how to have it not just be about you, but about them. And then the evolution is like, for many of us, is like, okay, now kids. Now we really have to be of service to people other than ourselves. You're right. And so you're right. It's not like, okay, time out. I got to do this parent thing for a little bit, but really I want to go back to being self-centered. I mean, because that's really what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And I know, I mean, I've struggled with this plenty. I'm not saying I have this licked by any means, but I think, again, it's a very important topic because so many dads struggle with this on to varying degrees, for sure. So like you said, like, don't, stop going down that romanticizing, that rabbit hole of, oh, it was all perfect, because I know when you were saying that, I was going back to, I had so many life crises before kids. Right. I had so many, like, what's the point? Why am I here?
Yes.
Like, like high drama,
Absolutely,
like,
dude.
So much of that. Well, guess what, dude? When I had kids,
All went away.
Done.
Done. Yeah.
There's no why am I here, right? That was solved real quick,
Real
right?
quick.
And so you're right, man. I had so much turmoil and strife and drama and painful moments before kids. And yeah, kids are hard as hell, and it's a challenge, but I don't know how to put it, but it was like it's not the same. Like the challenges and the hardness, it's I much prefer the challenges and the hardness as a parent, let's put it that way, than me just floundering around like, what's the point? What's my calling? And like all that stuff pre-kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. I don't really know how to articulate it, but yeah, it's hard now, but it's like it's much more of a purposeful, challenging hard
Yeah.
versus before where it was just like this woe is me type kind of like figuring stuff out.
Well, I think everyone that has kids can hopefully relate to this. This is how I feel looking back is before you have kids, you're reading books and you're talking to people to get ready. And you just can't conceptualize what it is or how it's different. So in your mental model is, okay, this is going to be just like my life now, except I'm adding a kid to it. And that is not what it is.
Right.
Like you are fundamentally changing everything from the ground up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's partly just something that it's difficult to imagine. Maybe society reinforces it a little bit and tells people, hey, you'll get time for you, like you deserve some time for yourself and get your kids, sleep trained or in daycare as soon as possible so you can get back to living your life. Like that's kind of, I think, the societal framing of it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I can look back on my life before having kids, and I had an arguably pretty cool life. I was doing cool stuff. I was touring. I was, we were living in LA, then the Bay after. I was with Raquel. We were having fun. We were, hiking, making cool, going out and getting meals together, going out to eat, getting smoothies, getting tacos. You know what I mean? Like we were living the life. We were, and then, and I had an identity of like, here's who I am. I'm like this, whatever punk rock dude that, I live in LA and I go and, play shows and I write music and I work out. Like I'm pretty sick, dude. I'm pretty dialed in. Like doesn't get much better than this, So, I mean, having kids will be cool to add to my cool, already awesome life. But the truth is, no matter how many Murphs I did or hard workouts or how many books I read or like David Goggins books I read, like whatever, nothing prepares you for what it really is. Not in a way of like, oh, it's so hard. It's just different than what you think. And point in all that is just that the truth is I was an unresilient, self-centered person until we had kids. Maybe I still am to some extent, but so much of that got wiped out. So what am I really looking backwards to recreate?
Mm-hmm.
The unresilient, self-centered version of myself that just wants to like, do me. What is there to admire about that? I'd much rather look forward into who I'm becoming and who our family is becoming, because that to me that's the exciting part. Like how much we've evolved as a family. I mean, think back to the chaos of having, your guys' first kid and you and Ashley trying to figure out what the hell's going on and kind of like how stressful it was. And you've never been parents before. Like everything feels hard and you're just getting wrecked by the stress of it. And just like the whole thing feels so overwhelming. You come out the other side so much better. And so what are you looking back to recreate, dude? You know, like what is so sick about your life before kids that you need to come back right now?
I mean, let's maybe we can just do a little top 10 or top 5 of like things that we see or we've fallen for at like trying to like live out the past, right? So I see like what's popular in our generation of parents is like sleep training, right? And to me, what that's all about, right, is like I'm uncomfortable not getting a lot of sleep, and so I want to outsource that problem. And so I'm going to hire someone that's an expert so that I can feel okay about letting my kid like cry uncontrollably for hours and hours so that like I can get better sleep, So that's one I see is like kind of the sleep training thing is like I'm going to just like shortcut this whole parent thing because sleep is really important to me. And so that's one of them. Another one of them I see is like people.
We just lost half our audience, unfortunately. By the way,
Yeah. Don't show this to your wife because she was the one probably promoting sleep training. But anyway, the other one is like just again trying to eat out all the time. Like you don't need to eat out all the time, and then a lot of the time what happens too is like you're eating out and then you got to bring the kid, and then they're all sitting there with like iPads for the entire thing. Like that's a terrifying image to me. Like, is that really what's needed for the next generation?
yeah.
So that's another one. And then I also see people just pursuing like their hobbies as if they don't have kids still.
Totally.
Like two like extreme example. Like I'm not saying don't like keep your hobbies and stuff, but like people who are just like, nope, this is not getting in the way of my road cycling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And dude, society perpetuates that. It's like you deserve your road cycling.
Yeah, you need your me time.
If you're going to make it through this time, you need to keep doing like, you can't give up the things that you love.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, dude, road cycling isn't that sick. What's sick, dude?
Fact.
What's sick, dude, is having like a sick family. I mean, like that's sick to me.
Yeah, there's actually like nothing better.
Well, perfect segue into the second mental shift. Which is that it is supposed to be hard, and the tendency is for people to do anything they can to get out of it. So we kind of already hit on some of the, the themes with that.
Mm-hmm.
When you first become a parent, there is this feeling of, what can I do to make this easier on myself? We covered some of the big ones, but basically like, how can I minimize the impact on me so that I have to kind of feel this as little as possible? What I've come to realize, and just reflecting on myself, on my life, my experience, was that I was not ready, again, as an unresilient, self-centered person, to become the father that I needed to be. Now. I wasn't ready, dude. In the same way that you pull some kid out of the suburbs and throw them into like the Marines or something, like they're not ready. They're not about it yet. Like they have to go through a process to become a Marine. It's like there is an actual process to get them to that point where they're ready. You're not ready, dude. Like, and it's not a diss on anyone. Like, I was trying the best I could before. Again, I was like reading books. I thought I was pretty, like tough. Like I like physically I could do hard stuff and all that, but it was just like, I'm sure that was helpful, but I wasn't ready. We got wrecked when we first had kids, and we went through just years and years of hard times. And it wasn't, what I'm saying is that is not bad.
No, and again, just like we're trying to remember not to romanticize our pre-kid lives, I think at the same time, we also need to be really more like accurate with like what it has been, because I've seen the trend out there, on social media. Like I'll see moms and like their whole shtick on social media is like how, being a mom is so hard, and they're, and it's just, it's like they're selling this whole, like, I mean, it makes parenthood look really freaking bad, frankly, and I think it's like, okay, I actually didn't know, like, and again, I love my wife to death, but I truly did not know the depths of love until my babies came.
Absolutely.
And it's like it unlocked like a heart level in me that like I had no idea was even possible, right? That's pretty freaking cool, right? Like to actually see and feel love that you didn't even know was possible until like you have this relationship with these little ones. It's like, so again, I think it's also just, it's good for parents to reframe. Like, yeah, it's hard as hell. And it's really hard as hell. And then also go through all of the joy that this little being has brought you and your wife,
Totally.
So it's good. I think it's good to do both.
That's where I'm hopefully bringing all this. It's all for positive.
Right.
Right. And just the point is that those challenges, those obstacles are put in your way so that you get better, so that you grow into the person that you need to become for your kids. So that's kind of the whole full circle thing about it is, who benefits from you going through this transformation? You do, but ultimately it's your kids. if you're a, you know, self-centered piece of crap that just wants to look at their phone all day and like just dips out whenever stuff gets hard because you weren't willing to kind of go through that hard process, well, that ultimately just that all affects your kids. Like they're the ones that ultimately pay the price for the work that you're not willing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, again, this one's very true to my experience where I look back and say, why was it so hard for us? I think that we had it extra hard. And again, can't compare,
Mm-hmm.
but we had a lot of stuff happen in the first couple of years. That was just like, dude, how is this happening? Like we had the whole thing with the lead poisoning and had to flash sell our house like quickly. Like it was during COVID. Like we got a ton of stuff like that early on. We had to move several times and it was just like, dude, this is way too hard. Like why?
Yep.
And reflecting back, it's like, dude, I needed that to get out of who I was and to kind of grow into who I'm becoming.
Yep.
Again, no endpoint. I haven't reached any destination, but it's like, ask anyone, dude. Like I'm such a different person now than I was 7 years ago, fiddling around in my room, like writing songs, like drinking coffee and like thinking I had it all figured out.
Yeah.
It's just so my life's completely changed because of all those hard things that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why they're there.
Yep.
It's just whatever you believe in, like God or the universe. It's basically like, you're not ready for this, dude. You know what I mean? It's like, here's some stuff you got to do first.
Yeah.
So that you're ready.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like you bring up a good point. I think in our society, like I can't, like I mentioned in a different podcast episode, in my 20s, I went through a 12-step program, right? And they're hammering home like self-centeredness. And, like when I'm working through the steps, it's like, I'm really focused on that. But I think a lot of people don't actually sit down. They don't have the opportunity to be like, am I self-centered?
Right.
Like how much of this, like, I think a lot of dads aren't even asking that question. And I think just if that's you and you're listening, just as a frame of reference, be like, how self-centered am I? Like, how much do I need to change for the benefit of my kids and for my wife? Like, even just going through that thought experiment and by yourself, where there's no ego involved, but just like really just write down on a notepad, like how many things am I struggling with that I'm not, like, for instance, right? I for 12 years now have secretly wanted to still be a gamer.
Okay, this is news to me.
And I, like I'll like every now and then I'll like dip on YouTube and see like the newest like first person shooter, or I'll like check out the newest game console, or like I'll price out like a gaming PC. Like there's nothing more that I want than to like put on a headset and game with the homies at 44 years old. And I haven't touched gaming for 13 years, since my kids are born, because I was like, that's hours and hours of my time.
Yeah.
That like either my wife's not getting in the evening when my kids are asleep, or my kids are like watching me game, and and so I just knew that was a time suck that I had to just like put away. And again, like, so as dads, if you're listening to this, like maybe just write a list of stuff where you're like, yep, I could probably ease back on that. Or, hey, this is maybe where I'm a little bit self-obsessed or self-centered. Because again, I don't know how many people have opportunities to actually like just consciously think about this stuff.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of us have blind spots, I guess, is what I'm trying to say in this area of just like, I'm not self-centered. I hold down a job. I go to work. It's like, yeah, that's bare minimum. That's like bare minimum. Congrats. Like,
I think there's a mindset of like, I deserve this.
Yes.
It's like, dude, no, you don't. Like, because you went to work today and did your job, you don't deserve to play video games when you get home.
Yeah.
Like, doing the bare minimum does not mean you deserve anything. And to be honest, dude, I don't think, man, unless you really have it all figured out, you're in awesome shape. You've completely kind of maxed out your time with your family and your kids that day. You've helped them in the ways you need to. You've taken care of all the stuff at the house, like all these things. If all that is done, okay, like, cool, maybe do something.
Mm-hmm.
But that is just no one, dude. You know what I mean?
Yep.
People think doing basically nothing, they deserve to whatever, watch football or like, play video games, watch Netflix. You don't deserve anything, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like your life's a wreck,
Yeah.
you know?
We've definitely lost all of our
Yeah,
audience
we're
at
down to
this
0
point.
listeners.
I don't know if we're going to actually post this one, but we'll see. Yeah, but again, I could give you 10 examples again, just to try and save some listeners like from dropping off. I could name 10 things where I've struggled with self-centeredness throughout my 13 years of being a parent.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's the thing. It's like, we all struggle with this, and we're just trying to be aware of it and go in the right direction. Right.
Yep.
And it's right. It's just, it's all doable. But it needs to happen because there's just, I can't tell. Okay. Like, again, other podcasts I mentioned, what I do professionally is I help people with grief work, right? So if they're struggling with grief from the past, I help them navigate through that. And I can't tell you how many people I work with, right, whose dad died or mom died. And, we do this one exercise called the relationship graph where they just chart out their whole relationship, the good stuff, the bad stuff. And, so much of the pain and so much of the hurt of like what people are unfinished with when mom dies or dad dies, again, is the level of selfishness that mom or dad
Wow.
had.
Crazy.
That's like massive amounts of pain that you're piling up on your kid by neglecting to spend time with them or being there but not really being there, right? It's like it's a huge piece of this. And I mean regularly I'm helping people navigate this stuff. And I try and remember that because I don't want, when my kids graph me when I'm dead, I don't want that to be the massive part of their graph, There'll be plenty of stuff I messed up on, trust me, because I'm a human being. But like these big reoccurring themes that I see so much from kids graphing their parents, it's like, man, like, dude, you were asleep at the wheel. Like you really thought that was cool to like pursue this thing that was that time consuming,
Yeah.
and but you chose to have kids. Like it doesn't compute,
Yeah. I don't buy the whole like there's people out there that once they have kids, they're still in pursuit of their thing, which was like, it was always my destiny to like build this company or to like do this thing. I have kids now and they're like along for this, they're along for my ride, like they're on the ride with me. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, dude. I have a hard time with that where it's like, I already have this mission and now everyone's on the mission with me, and like, sorry guys, but I have to do this for me.
Yeah.
And like, that's going to mean I might not see you for, years of your life.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, dude. Like, is your dream, is that really your purpose or your dream? I don't know, dude.
Right.
I think your purpose is to freaking figure out your family.
Yep.
And raise your kids now.
Yeah, I agree. Right. It's whether you're road cycling or you're a high powered CEO, like it's all just selfishness. Right. Because the truth is, in most people's positions, right?
Yeah.
You could absolutely offload a lot of that stuff. Like you can find, like, again, if you want to be an active parent, you can find ways to do it.
Yep.
No matter what. And so, yeah, I don't know.
Well, let's move to the third one.
Okay.
So the third one is that, okay, we covered, stop looking into the past and romanticizing, your life before kids.
Mm-hmm.
The second is all about embracing the fact that this is going to be hard and that's supposed to be that way. And the third is around, it's now time for you to become what you want to leave behind for your kids. It's about now becoming the things that you want for them.
Mm-hmm.
The opposite of this, which is the most common, is my time is kind of done now. Like I got my high school baseball sports tapes. I got I got my sponsored me skateboarding stuff. I'm gonna show my kids my videos of me skating. My work here is done. It's now my kids' turn. I'm passing on the torch. I get to sit back and drink my beer and kind of just kind of hang out now, and it's all my kids. And so the whole idea of this is, what better way is there to influence your kids' lives than to change who you are, right? So most people want their kids to grow up and be healthy. What parent doesn't want that? So what's the best way to do that? You want your kids to be healthy, you be healthy, right? You want happy kids, you be happy.
Yep.
You want your kids to have a fulfilling life, you have a fulfilling life. You want your kids to be capable outdoors, you be capable outdoors. The chances that they're going to end up something wildly different than what you are very low.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it's funny because like now that you're saying this, it kind of, I feel like number 2 and number 3, like at face value, kind of would seemingly contradict themselves, right? It's like number 2 is about stop being selfish, but number 3 really is about, but still, you still got to be on the hero's journey,
Yeah.
and like you still got to evolve, and you still got to be, you want your kids to be successful, you got to be successful. So there is a balancing act, right, between you developing as you need to be as a man, and then also making sure that you have enough time to be there as their father and spend time with them, right? And so again, none of this stuff is easy. We've already covered that as well, but again, there is evolution that still needs to happen for you, separate than your kids, right? So again, it's finding the balance. And I think that sometimes guys, they want to like figure that balance out with no input from anyone else, right? So they don't want to check in with their wife on the balance or their buddies, right? So like I could think of a couple of dads that like I'm friends with that like I think their balance is out of whack completely.
Yeah.
But they've never asked me. You know what I mean? So I don't like offer up my advice, but it breaks my heart because I feel like they're, a lot of their kids are hurting because of it.
Yeah, but the difference between the two things is one is something I'm just doing for myself because I want to do it for my own pursuits. The other is very specifically doing it to become the example that you want to leave behind for your kids.
I know, but it's tricky.
It's
right?
tricky, but like
it's tricky.
It's tricky, but I'll give an example. I mean, when we moved here, I had very little outdoor capability. I still have not great.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Yeah.
And why am I doing that? Because literally last year camping, I'm sitting there halfway through, like just looking at the ground, just being like, dude, I suck. Like I can't do anything. And now my kids are out here with me. I can't show them shit, and it's like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, I'm probably farther along than some people, but I don't have the skill set that I want to leave behind. So now I'm building it.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
There is, skills that we've picked up, me and Raquel stuff in our relationship that we have done specifically because of how we want to model for our kids.
Yeah.
Right. So in other words, at some point you take stock of, and this was the inspiration for the podcast, was where this whole thing came from, of thinking about, would you kind of leave no doubt about the model that you set that you leave behind for your kids? So you're looking at these areas, and again, the whole concept is the best way to influence that for your kids is to become those things. You know who your kids are a lot like? You and Ashley.
Yeah.
All your kids are like mini Cole and Ashley's.
Yeah.
Like they're super like outdoorsy. They're super capable outdoors. Their energy is super like you guys.
Yeah.
Wyatt can turn up. He can kind of like be Rick James. You know what I mean? Just like you. Like they're also very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah.
I never told you this, dude, but I gave Wyatt some feedback at the camping last time because he made a comment to one of the other kids that was like, that might have kind of hurt the kid's feelings.
Yeah.
And I told Wyatt kind of like nicely.
Yeah.
And he was so like, he received it so well.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, thank you for letting me know.
Yeah.
Just handled it so gracefully.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
Like Wyatt's getting after it in the gym. Why?
Yeah.
Because it's his genetics.
Yeah.
That's the thing, dude, is people, again, they think my work here is done. I'm a perfect, I am done here. This painting is done. It's like when an artist finishes a painting, they're like walking around the room looking at it from different angles and they're like, looks pretty good,
Yeah.
it's all genetics from here on. Like, it's just, well, let's see what genetics my kid inherited from me or my wife.
Yeah.
It's like, dude,
Yep.
yeah, I guess, like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's an aspect of that, but I can trace back almost all of my major personality traits to my parents
Mm-hmm.
and what I saw them doing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like, that's the whole idea of, you can't control genetics. The one thing you can control is who you are.
Yeah.
You can change that right now, dude. It's like, if you don't work out, start working out tomorrow.
Yep.
And it's like, your kid will be like, oh, this is cool. My dad's out of shape.
Mm-hmm.
Other dads are in better shape than him, but now he's doing something about it.
Yep.
Cool. Like, logging that away.
Well, and it is incredible how quickly that the kids pick it up, right? And
Yeah.
and your kids won't stop you and be like, "This is a little contradictory. I haven't ever seen you lift weights anymore," right?
Right.
They don't know the difference. So that, even though you feel unfamiliar with picking up a new thing that would be healthy for you,
Yep.
they have no clue. So they don't know that you don't know what you're doing and you're just navigating your way through it. They'll just see you and cheer you on and then want to do it very shortly
Yeah.
after. So you're totally right. Like, there's no shame in, like, again, finding ways that you need to be developed and then just start developing yourself that way, and your kid, it's so fun because your kids want to pick it up really quickly. Yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, it's I see it all the time. I know you do, and that's why, like you said, we wanted to do this podcast, but I see it all the time. You just see dads that they just seem so checked out in life. They've like given up. They've given up their physical appearance. They've given up their different dreams, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like they're phoning it in at this point, right? And like,
Yeah.
all their hopes and dreams are locked up in their kids almost,
Right. Yeah.
and it's heartbreaking because you can have both, right?
Yeah.
You can still be progressing and evolving as the dad, right? And you're setting the example for your kids, and
Yeah.
and I think that's why I think that's why I think the other key to that too, right? And I think that's honestly why you and I really hit it off from the beginning, was that we could see in each other, like, that's what we were striving to do.
Totally.
Dude,
as soon as we met, I was like, how soon can I ask this guy about, like, us having some type of, like,
likewise,
accountability on stuff that we can, like, work on,
Yeah.
And yeah, like, sure, some of that is our personalities, but also not, dude. It's like, for 25 years of my life, I've been, like, seeking, like, hey, what can I do to get better? And, like, reading books and, like, actually, like, learning a new thing and then implement, you know what I mean? It's like, I've also just worked hard at stuff and want to continue doing that. So it's like, anyways.
Yeah, you got to be proactive. In this day and age, like, you got to just, and there's never been more easily, like, readily available information, like, on how to do this stuff and how to pursue new things. And, I think it's interesting to me, the outdoor capability side of, like, you wanting that, right? And again, I wanted that too, and I was just, I grew up in LA, so I didn't have it either. I just moved to Oregon in 2010, so I had that kind of come to Jesus moment at a different time. But I'm always curious, like, how many dads have that, how many men have that,
I think everyone does.
Yeah, like, leave a comment too. Like, I would love to see if this is, like, a big trend for us, right? As we move more and more away from nature and the outdoors, like, I think there is something in the back of us all, like, especially as guys, like, we're hunter providers, like, we need this capability, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, that just struck me as interesting.
Well, if you hear this and you think, well, of course I want all these good things for my kids, but I don't know how to do any of that stuff, or, like, I feel like a beginner. It's, so you want me to go out and, like, start all these new things. One quote that always stuck with me, and I don't know where it's from, but I love it, is, what you do is who you are. And basically the concept is, if I wake up today and I do all the things that I want to do, like, I work out and I eat well, who's going to tell me that I'm not that person? Because I do it again tomorrow, there's that book, Atomic Habits, that talks about this. But if you start doing something today tomorrow it's like, okay, you were that person today, because you can't change who you were yesterday, can't change who you're going to be tomorrow. But today I woke up early and I worked out. That's who I am. Like today I'm a guy that works out and eats well.
Yep.
And it's like a lot of this stuff, like I've had to navigate many big transitions in my life of thinking I was someone that I wasn't. And the way I did it was, well, I'm going to do this today. I'm going to try this on today. And that helped me kind of figure out that none of this stuff is predetermined. Like we're going to talk about belief systems and identity changes. And a big part of that for me has been coming to the conclusion that none of this stuff is fully predetermined or genetic. It's just like, I can decide tomorrow to start something new. And it's like you said, your kids aren't going to know one way or another.
Yep.
If I say, hey guys, we're going to go on a hike tomorrow, and they're like, oh shit, Dad's never taken us on a hike before. Sick. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, there's your like outdoor path opening up, and you start doing it, or
100%.
Whatever it is, dude. So it's just like, you can just do it, man. Like, you don't need some like genetic makeup or some like expertise or some, predisposition for something.
Yeah, it's interesting, like, not to keep bringing it back to this, but it is what I do. There's a saying that we do, which is like unresolved grief, unresolved trauma robs us of choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it happens slowly and it's insidious and, for a lot of different reasons, we forget we have choices in life, right? As the pressure of life stacks up on us. And that's what I'm hearing you say is like, you can always get back in the moment and realize that you always have choices and you can always start different pursuits and stuff. And, we're talking to mostly guys that are in their 30s and 40s. And guess what? Like, it's on you, this ain't on your parents. Like it is your responsibility to have the life you want to have, to lead the family the way you want to lead them, and to be the father that you want to be. Like that is up to you. And it's in session right now. And so I love that you mentioned that for sure.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it there.
Cool.
Thanks for listening. And we'll see you soon.